International speaker. Serial entrepreneur. That means he sell plates out the back of his truck, okay? Wellness advocate. That means he go grow collard greens in his backyard, okay? Activist for wellness of all living beings, even the mosquitoes. But me and mosquitoes got a thing, okay? All right. Film producer, director of They're Trying to Kill Us. Let's say that one more time. They are trying to kill us, huh? He's the author of The Badass Vegan, okay? So now, that was just a short bio. Let me just, read a little bit more of his resume. At the young, tender age of 13, they used to call him Big John. But John decided to change his life and his ways. He worked hard and he dedicated and he lost weight and excelled in football and basketball. Do y'all see how tall John is? Do you see his arms? That means he was successful, okay? Yes, he continued his streak of athletic excellence throughout the high school and college years and full-time ride scholarship to Harris Stowe State College. Any Harris Stowe State College alumni out there? One right here. All right. Graduated with a bachelor's degree in marketing, he later went on to pursue his MBA from Nova Southern University in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where it's even hotter. Thank you, Lord, for us being in North Carolina. John's education in business, coupled with his love for health and fitness, gave him the ability to start his venture, Badass Vegan. Any badass vegans out there? I'm trying to tell you because I'm one. A health and nutrition company that strives to educate individuals on plant-based nutrition. John's love for his community brought forth the brainchild of Vegan Smart, a plant-based protein shake company with the foundation whose mission is to prevent obesity through education, physical activity, and plant-based nutrition. Just call me the poster child because I'm a fat vegan, okay? As a well-renowned fitness expert, John Lewis has spent over 2 decades in health and fitness industry and played Division I college basketball. That means that man got hands, okay? John is highly passionate about not only his own health and fitness, but that of others as well. Again, call me the poster child. This is evident through his motivational messages, either through his international public speaking engagements or simply through his social media outlets. Today, John has taken his passion for health and is now directing his first feature-length documentary focused on food and social justice. John has teamed up with the maker of the award-winning What the Health to create their joint venture called They're Trying to Kill Us, huh? So everybody get on your feet if you sleep and stand up. Give a round of applause for John. Go John. I know we don't have the music, but that was me. Okay.
Is there anybody out there that doesn't know who I am? You can just raise your hands. It's fine. It won't hurt my feelings. Okay, y'all can leave now. No, I'm just playing. My name is John Lewis. I was born in Little Rock, Arkansas, raised in Ferguson, Missouri, now live in Miami. And I was not raised vegan. So I myself was a meat eater. I was even a butcher at one point. So imagine. So my transition did happen that way. Around 13 years old, I found myself at 315 pounds as a freshman in high school, and I was only 5'10" at the time, so I wasn't 6'6". So it was a little bit more noticeable. But through a lot more physical activity and everything, I started to lose the weight. I hadn't changed my actual nutrition yet. When I went vegan, my mother was diagnosed with colon cancer, and I remember talking to the doctors, asking how did this happen, what's going on, and then that's when the doctor was saying too much animal food, fried fatty foods, and I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't hereditary. And he's like, no, this is a lifestyle choice. So that really stuck in my head, and I didn't go vegan immediately, but the more and more research I did, I saw that it wasn't just animal protein related to just cancer. I just started seeing like all these other diseases that was related to it. So I was like, you know what? Let me try this out and see how it works. And when I tell you I felt so much better afterwards, I was almost upset because I didn't know about a vegan Philly cheesesteak at the time, and all I used to eat was Philly cheesesteaks. So I was upset about that now I'm gonna have to give up this food. But the more and more I started diving into the actual lifestyle, I started to see that whatever they eat over there we can still eat over here. Now, it's not always the healthiest, but it's way healthier than that bull over there. And technically bull, like really bull. So I really had to move that over. So that's my lifespan, just in a short synopsis. I don't talk a lot about myself because I'm pretty boring. But what I am going to do is I'm going to show you the trailer to the film. So this is the neighborhood I grew up in, right in Ferguson. A friend of mine was actually shot in his driveway right there.
You put drugs in the communities, put guns in the communities, put disease in the communities, put poor food in the communities. All these things are designed to shorten your life expectancy.
It's by design. It is not accidental that this is what's in the hood and this is what's over there.
There's actually an active hand in making sure that we living like this.
It's all about control, money, and survival to them.
Your death is not an expense to them, it's an expense to you.
They're trying to make money from us, even if it's at the expense of killing us. You just die slow. Your family just watches you die.
The alcohol industry, fast food industries, tobacco industries target communities of color.
Your health is not their main priority. They're trying to keep you sick.
We are in a state of emergency when it comes to our health.
Keeping people sick is very lucrative.
Now you want pills. Now you want dialysis. Now you want medicine. You going to the hospital on a regular to see your doctor. Everybody's getting paid except you.
Big pharma and pharmaceutical companies are making billions of dollars off of all of us.
As long as they can make that dollar, they don't care if you live or die.
It's something about being here that's making black people sick.
Everybody's getting paid except you. You hurting.
There are more dangerous and harmful chemicals in products made for women of color.
It absolutely is a crisis.
They don't make a dime if you're healthy.
It's kind of like the dope game. It is the dope game. It's just a bigger gangster, the mob boss.
Look at the hidden hand, you see that government is feeding the crisis.
We're fed wrong knowledge, sized all the wrong food.
It's about money over people's health.
If you can control a population's access to food, you can control the person.
Only about 8% of African Americans even live in communities that have a grocery store in them.
Because the deep root problem is the food.
Because poor diets kill more brothers than pistols. You know, we fighting for our lives. That's like Michael Vick's pit bulls.
As black men, we're dying off so quickly in so many ways.
It's here, hidden in our communities.
They don't want a healthy population.
That is injustice, plain and simple.
The powers that be that are making that money at the top, they trying to kill us.
We interviewed over 120 people. We cut it down to 90 for the film. Everybody from Stick from Dead Prez, Maya, Damon Dash, Chris Paul. In fact, I have Chris Paul and Billie Eilish as executive producers for the film. So we're working on shopping it around right now. Know a lot of people, they always inbox me like, where's the film? Is this a scam? I'm like, no, Hollywood just sucks. And it takes them forever to move. So we are working on distribution now. We're actually most likely going to end up working with the guy that sold, has anybody seen Game Changers at all? So the guy that helped sell Game Changers to Netflix, we're working with him now. So hopefully soon it'll be out and everybody can get the message that's behind it. But yeah, so we are 5 years after making it and we are there now. So any questions at all in regards to the film or just veganism or anything at all?
So what was like the biggest, like, oh my goodness, like I knew this to be true, but I didn't know this was true. After making this film, what was that? And what was the biggest joy from making it? So your biggest, like, oh my goodness, shock, surprise, and your greatest joy.
Okay, so we filmed at a hog farm, and you think you know everything. I've been to visuals. Like I said, I was a butcher. So this guy who ran the pig farm, he really thought he was doing good work. I think that was the most shocking thing, was like, he really thought he was doing good work. And when we got there, he had these lagoons where the pig feces go, because unknowingly, a lot of people don't know this, but these pigs never saw daylight. So for 20 weeks, they're at this hog farm. They get them at 5 weeks. He keeps them in these pens, and he can hold up to 7,500 pigs at a time. So 7,500 pigs never see daylight that whole time they're there. And they have little slats that look like these crates here at the bottom. So when they use the bathroom, they just funnel down, they go into these lagoons. The thing that I didn't know before going into this, he had 3 lagoons. I want anybody to guess how many gallons of pig waste that these lagoons hold? Just one. 3,000 gallons in one lagoon. So imagine. So what happens to all that pig feces? Because nobody's buying pig feces. So they have what they call spray fields. And what the spray fields do, they spray these feces over their fields. But what happens when the wind, you asked. So when the pig feces is wasted and it sprays over these fields, the wind catches it. So we tested these homes of the neighborhoods of the people that live around these surrounding communities. We tested their tables, their walls, their toys, their cooking supplies, couches, everything. We swabbed them, and they all came back with pig feces. In fact, one of the ladies we interviewed for it, she actually passed away from the complications of this after we made the film. So that was one of the things. The greatest joy, so to make it feel better at the end of it, the greatest joy was that my mom was in the film and she got to see the film before she passed away. So that was the greatest joy.
Okay, this one should not involve feces, hopefully. How do you speak to African Americans who say that it's part of our heritage, it's part of our culture, and it's disrespectful to say that we should be vegan?
That's a good one. From what I've learned from my research is that most African tribes didn't start off as carnivores like people believe. Like, you got to think about it this way. Nobody back in the day had an assault rifle with a scope on it. They were out there with a bow and arrow or a spear. And I'm not saying that they weren't good athletes, but nobody's got a 100% hunting rate when you're hunting with that. Unlike people like to believe, animals just don't sit there and wait for us to hunt them. So they would have had to chase them and had to get them. They didn't have refrigeration. They didn't have things to preserve the animal after they killed it. So if they ate meat, it was like once a month. If they ate meat, there are tribes that don't touch meat at all. We interviewed the Native American tribe in Sedona, Arizona, and when we were talking to them, she was like, "No, we're naturally plant-based. It's just that the colonization is what makes people do it." Now the thing is, and I will say this, and because I have a lot of friends that are not black. And it's hard, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's hard for black people to hear a white person telling them that they shouldn't be vegan. So when white people tell black people they shouldn't be vegan, they automatically got a defense put up. So that's one hard thing. I think if a white person's trying to inform a black person, be like, hey, go talk to this guy over here. I think that helps out and that eases the transition to where they're not resistant against it. Because let's be honest, as much love as we want in the world, there's a lot of tension right now. So if it comes from the wrong source, they automatically shut it down. Refer them to somebody, and I'm not saying me, refer them to a couple of pages that they can follow.
How do you get the kids involved? Who started out like young kids?
Gotcha. You saying, so how do parents get the kids involved? Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is one thing that I've come to the conclusion. To get the kids involved, you don't ask for their permission. I think one of the biggest problems as parents is we don't ask their permission for anything else, but when it comes to food, we ask for their permission for some reason. Like when parents gave their kids meat, they didn't ask for permission to give them meat. So now it's like if they're going to go vegan, you just start serving them vegan food. But getting them involved also means that the parent needs to be eating what they're giving the kids. A lot of times the parents is like, yo, I'm over here eating this vegan burger and I'm giving my kids carrots and peas. And they're like, the kid's like, yo, you over there eating like all this good looking stuff. You got to give it to us too. So I think one of the major things is like stop asking for permission, because as a parent, if a parent is literally going vegan or changing the kids to be vegan because they literally think it's the most nutritious thing and will help them stay healthy, then that means without them knowing it, they probably not trying to, but if you're putting your kids in harm's way, that's abuse. So why would you abuse your kids? Even if it's on accident, if you know for a fact that that's bad for them, why would you continue to give them that just so you can try to make best friends with your kids? They will be your best friend when they know that you're trying to help them out. So that's my thing. Just involve them with it. If you're going to eat a vegan burger, give them a vegan burger too.
Sorry to hear about your mom, first off. My mother just moved here from Pennsylvania, and she grew up in the South where they ate a lot of hog and cow and goat and all that. So now that she lives with me, I want to get her away from that, but that's what she's used to. But she has a lot of health concerns, diabetes, high blood pressure, and she takes tons of medication. Now, she has eaten some vegan food recently within the past month that she likes. But how can I get her to venture out more? When you had the issues, with your mother and your family, with your transformation, did a lot more of your family members move away from that food?
Yes.
After they saw you?
Yes. So just to give a little bit more background, born in Little Rock, Arkansas, my family owns the #1 barbecue restaurant in all of Arkansas and Tennessee called Simms Barbecue. So they think I'm crazy, but they all on medication, so it works out. So when I transitioned, my mom didn't transition as well. And it was almost like a resistance. Like when she saw me do it, she's like, oh, I'm not doing that. She's like, look at me. I'll never forget her 75th birthday party. We had a party, and she's like, oh, he can be vegan all he wants. Look at me. I'm kicking it. I'm striving. I'm like, but in my head, I didn't tell my mom this, but in my head, it automatically popped in my head. I'm like, well, you had cancer twice. You had to have your colon removed. You had to have it put back in. You're on a ton of medication. I'm like, yeah, you're kicking it, but without those things, you wouldn't be here right now. So the way to get her to transition is I didn't pressure her. She never transitioned fully, but she started sending me like meals that she was eating. Like, hey, I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'm like, hey, it was vegan. That's good enough for me. Is she cooking in your house? Or see, that's a hard thing. If she's cooking, I think the thing is just start making enough food for her if she don't eat it or not. Because one thing, what did our moms always tell us? Don't waste this food. So if I'm making food and you ain't eating this food, mama, you wasting this food. What did you teach me growing up? We don't waste this food. Like, just like with the kids, you make it where it's the good stuff. Like, I know sometimes we want to make them live healthier, so we don't want to give them all the, like, burgers and the fries. But right now, you got to give them that. I always say you get a 30-day grace period. So, like, when people transition to vegan, and I talk about this in the book, I say when you go vegan, the first 30 days, I want you to have fun. Like, treat it like a new relationship. Sorry, kids, if y'all in here, but new relationship, you having fun everywhere you go with your new person. You know what I'm saying? It could be the library, the airport, wherever it is. Y'all trying all new things. Y'all trying to see, y'all discovering each other. Same thing with the food. Discover what you like. It's over 70,000 edible plants in the world. It's only like 5 animals that people eat. And they always think that vegan's gonna be boring, but it's like you got 70,000 options over here. So now just start giving those options. And then once she starts getting hooked, then you can start transitioning. Okay, now I'm gonna give you the burger, but I'm gonna give you this dope salad that I made here today, or just different things, this dope smoothie or whatever it is. But give her the junk in the beginning. Hit those taste buds, cause we from the South and we all about taste buds. You can tell us something's gonna make us live 100 years more, but if it tastes nasty, we not doing it. And that's me too. Like, I don't care. So yeah, try that out. I think that would work. How you doing, man?
Good. I'm actually gonna ask you about your shake. As a plant-based athlete, how often, how frequently are you drinking it to supplement what you're taking in organically?
So what's funny is I used to drink the shake all the time, but now I make like these vegan cookies that's part of my meal plan, and I put the protein in the cookies because I got a sweet tooth, and I like the shake is great by itself, but if I can have a cookie too and have some protein, that's what I'm doing. The good thing is it does have a cooking flavor to it, so it actually tastes really good. But with the chocolate, I'll do like avocado. So I'll put a little bit of avocado in it, mix it up, blend it, and freeze it for like 20 minutes, and it's like a pudding after that. Or you can use it in brownies, or like the vanilla I use in cookies. The wild berry, I haven't really cooked with it as of yet, but I incorporate it every day. I know some people are like, oh, well, why are you drinking protein shakes? You went vegan for health. I'm like, yeah, but the supplement industry is $1 billion industry, and if vegans only make up 5% of the population, then we're not the ones keeping them in business. So I don't understand why people get so mad when vegans take supplements when we're not the ones that's holding it up in the first place.
We know about food deserts in African American community. What's the solution for that? Because not only do people not have access to healthy foods, whether they're vegan or not, but just especially if they're vegan.
So one solution that's not necessarily a quick fix, but one thing I think that's going to work is I'm actually looking to work with Walmart, because a lot of people don't know that Walmart delivers. Person that's the sales agent that's working with us, we're working in conjunction with them to have plant-based products free delivery to people no matter where they are in the country. Because I think right now, the thing is, it could be a family, a mother or father, single, mother or father with kids, and if they got 3 kids, I don't care if the grocery store is right there, for them to get in the car or walk over there, that's one kid sleep, one kid got an attitude. Like, it's so many different aspects that go to that. And I think if we come up with a delivery system that'll bring it right to them, it kind of takes away the excuse as well, you know? And so we're working on actual like meal plan forums for them too, so they know what they can eat, how they can eat it. So it's a process, but that's just one aspect that'll help. The other aspect is people here, anybody here that is vegan and wants to help out somebody that lives in a food desert, I had a quote that came to my head. I said, it's okay for people that are privileged to help out the unprivileged. And a lot of times we forget that. Like, you know, we get out of our little box and we're like, oh, cool, I ain't got to worry about them over there anymore. No, we still got to help each other out. So people don't realize this. You remember back in the day when you used to go to a store, they would ask you what your zip code was as you were ringing out? It's because those stores want to know where the money's coming from. They want to know, should I go build a store over in this place or should I not build a store in that place? So with that being said, one thing to do is when you go to these stores, go to a store that might not be in your most favorite neighborhood and get those fruits and vegetables, get those vegan items, because what's going to happen is the store is going to check their items that's being sold and they're going to replenish that. And if they see that they're selling more of it, they're going to put more of that in that store. So there's stores in these underserved communities, but they don't have the products or the fruits and vegetables that this community needs. So we have to sometimes go over there and help them out so that they can get those things that they need.
With the big pharma and the big corporations, the meat and the dairy, do you get much pushback from them? And what's your take on GMO and Monsanto?
There's kids here, so I won't say what I would say about Monsanto, but if you could just put a 4-letter word in front of Monsanto, that's pretty much what I would say. And it could go with a combination of 4-letter words. You can pick your own for that one. Choose your own adventure for that. I will say, though, as far as pushback, so we actually got wind of a letter that was from the National Agriculture Association. So this association is all about animal agriculture. They want to kill animals and sell it. But they got wind of our film. So they sent out now this is a $1 billion corporation or organization. And they sent out a letter about my little film, which made me feel good, that they need to look out for this film because it's going to hurt the animal agriculture industry. So I was like, well, thank you. I mean, I didn't think they was thinking about me, but that let me know that there was some pushback and that they're waiting for us to release this film so they can get their rebuttals ready. And so my co-director that made What the Health, anybody seen What the Health, by the way? Awesome. Thank you for the support with that, too. So my co-director, I worked a little bit on What the Health, but my co-director, they were at an event away from home promoting the film, and they get a phone call that somebody broke into their house, and they didn't steal anything, though. They just wanted to destroy the place and left a message, basically, saying that we see you, we know what you're doing. So that's why y'all don't really see my family too much on my social media, because they don't need to know nothing about me. But yeah, there's been pushback, and we had people try to bankrupt the film. We had people try to steal the rights to the film. Like I said, this animal agriculture organization. So yeah, we definitely had some pushback from it, but I'm okay with it. I grew up in Ferguson, Missouri. It's whatever.
It's amazing that the person who came in front of me asked that question because he stole my question, but I'm gonna ask it in a different way.
Okay.
Recently, I was looking at a marketing film by Grant Cardone, one of the biggest marketers. And one of the things he said, and this is not a question right now, this is encouragement to you, my bro. He said, when you are getting ready to become the most successful, get ready for your haters. Now, the fact that your haters are so powerful, my bro, I'm putting this into the atmosphere. You getting ready to really, really, really blow up. And being an islander myself, to the lady who asked the question earlier, I don't even know if she's still here, the white woman, congratulations to her, because it took a lot of courage for her to ask that question. But if a black person, or if you want to encourage black people to eat properly, just tell them to go back to their ancestors. How did their ancestors used to eat? Yes, there was a little bit of meat in Africa, but like in the islands, it's fish. You know what I mean? And eating healthy, eating what the country gives you. That is how we eat. But are you ready for the movement? That was my question for you.
Yes,
You
I am.
ready for
I'm
the
so
movement?
ready for the movement. I've been ready for it. Like I've been getting pushback since I first started.
Yeah.
I've been vegan 16 years now.
Yeah.
Like even since the beginning when
Yeah.
people thought I was crazy. I mean, well,
Yeah.
I take that back. They still think I'm crazy, but I know it's gonna be pushback. But even if one person changes their life, it's worth all the hate that comes.
Yeah.
Like I'm cool with that. Like
Yeah.
I grew up an underdog, so I have no problem being the underdog. My biggest mission is to show other people that they deserve to be healthy. Like I did a CNN interview, and that was it's funny I just said that because I'm so used to thinking it, but that was the soundbite they used, was that we all deserve to be healthy. And it's true. Like I do believe, like I don't care what your background is, what family history you got, we all deserve it. But the problem is we have to earn it at the same time.
Yeah.
We deserve it, but nobody's gonna give it to us.
Yeah.
And that's where we have to do it. And if I need to hold some people's hands and take them over to where they need to go, let's go.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the love, bro.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
And yes, thank you to her for asking that question. I know it took courage. How you just gonna sneak in here?
I did sneak in, didn't I? Wait patiently.
You did. You
yes,
did. Okay.
I did. But this is a great conversation, right?
Yeah.
Because people look at me and be like, "You vegan?" Yes. You know what I'm saying? Then people look at you and be like, "Yo, you eat great, right?" Yeah. You know.
Or they think I'm cheating. Like a lot of times people are like, "Oh, you ain't taking nothing. You ain't taking nothing." I'm like,
you
"No,
ain't,
man. Yeah.
You know, popping no pills. No,
Right.
no. So it's the idea of what being a vegan or eating a plant-based life, what it looks like, right? People think fat is ugly. I'm not. Okay, I'm very beautiful.
Not
all
at
right?
all. That's right.
Even when we're talking about that and in what we need to re-educate the minds of people when it comes to veganism or a plant-based life, we talked about what we can do in those underserved communities and all those things. Listen, they don't call me the fat vegan for no reason. I know how to shop in every place to go, okay? Because I had to figure it out. But what can we do to help push that agenda through what you're doing to educate the masses even more? Like what support you need? Like, I know money at the end of the day. Capital moves things. But boots on the ground, boots on the ground,
So the reason why it isn't just out, because I had to borrow $1 million to make the film. So unless somebody got $1 million for me to pay this person back, we waiting on that paycheck so we can pay them.
Boots on the ground,
yeah, I'm just checking because somebody might have it out there. You never know, so we check it. But that's one of the things. But another thing is that once the film drops, like the support that we had from What the Health, the support that Game Changers got, spread that out to your non-vegan friends, to your vegan friends. I think that's how it works. It's all about, like, if everybody remembers the movie Hitch, like he didn't get all his clientele because he said something. It was the support. It was the word of mouth. And that's what we have to use, is we have to be positive and telling people, and not telling people like, "Oh man, you gotta watch this film or you whack." Like, no, like I think this got some information for you that I think you'll like, and it'll relate to you, and you can relate to the film. I think that's the biggest thing. Like you said, boots on the ground is just, and in today's age, we have to understand too, boots on the ground is easier than it was 30 years ago. I can send a blast email to everybody and get that message out, or I can post it on my social media or whatever it is. It's so many ways to just get the word out now. So I think that's what it is, just sharing the knowledge about the film or any film. Like, I'm one of those people, like, just because I'm making a film, I don't think all other films suck. I think we all got our lane and everybody can help everybody. You know, everybody's got a genre that they can help. Hopefully my film helps everybody, and that's how we do it. We just spread the word.
My husband and I have a physical therapy business, and we do a lot of health education there. I bring in plant-based whole food tastes for people all the time, and people are hungry to make a change. But, you know, there's a lot of ingredients and a lot of the homemade foods that are not processed foods that you don't buy over the counter. And I think that's discouraging for people. I don't know if you have an answer for that.
It can be challenging. I'm one of those simplistic vegans now. I used to be fancy vegan. Now I'm real simplistic. Like, I make a lot of my stuff at home, whether it's, you know, the seitan that I make myself, or I make my own salad dressing and all these different things. But I'm one of those people that cut back on the ingredients. Yeah, I could get the fancy truffle oil and the water that's been blessed by a monk on the top of the hill and pour that in there. But that's the problem. That's a problem with a lot of recipes that they find online. I think if you start looking at like, and I know they're not 100% vegan anymore. They used to be. Websites like The Minimalist Baker, like they use like 5 ingredients or less. Yeah, I think they started incorporating some eggs and dairy. That's cool. We'll talk to them later about that. But for the most part, the majority of the stuff is vegan on there. So you start looking at stuff like that, and then you start to make your own stuff. I think people need to be okay with not being the best chef in the beginning. The problem is, as humans, we want to be a perfectionist at everything we do. And that's why a lot of people haven't transitioned to vegan is they're like, well, what am I going to do when I go to vegan? The funniest question I get all the time from somebody interested in going vegan is, well, I need a meal plan. I'm like, do you use a meal plan now? They're like, no. I'm like, well, why do you think all vegans walk around with a meal plan? I don't understand how that works. But they do. They think all vegans have a meal plan and we stick to this meal plan. I'm like, no, we eat. We just eat. We have fun.
Since you're a healthy vegan.
I try to be.
And I would like to be a healthy person.
Okay.
I won't necessarily say vegan, but a healthy person.
Okay.
Calorie-wise, when incorporating your protein, how much of that are you supplementing for like a meal replacement?
Hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Mommy is, there goes Daddy. Round of applause. I think that's the next speaker, and that was my sign that I'm taking too long.
How much of that are you supplementing as a meal replacement?
I incorporate it into the cookies that I make every day. So I meal prep on Sundays, every Sunday. So like I traveled with my food. I went to LA before I came here, and I came here yesterday from LA, and I got all my food with me. Like I'm very prepped in what I'm doing at this point. It's incorporated every day. And depending on where I'm at, like now I'm training for a half marathon. So now I'm training for a half marathon. I'm incorporating a little bit more protein in what I'm doing, and my calories are a little bit higher because I'm starting off at 3 miles 3 times a week. Next week it'll be 3 miles 3 times a week, and then it'll start developing up till I get to the 13 miles. So my calorie intake will go up because I don't want to lose a lot of size while I'm doing it, and I feel great where I'm at right now. So the one thing, I've done 6 half marathons in the past, and I didn't increase my calorie intake at the time when I was doing it. And I had abs, but yeah, I was skinny, so it was easy to have abs, but I want to hold on to the size and have, what I'm doing now. So it's just about like understanding your daily activity and then adjusting your caloric intake with what you're doing. If you're not working out as much, if you're not being that active, then you shouldn't be taking in that much calories if that's your goal. Like I always say this, if you want to be vegan and eat whatever you want that's vegan. If you want to be on the health side of vegan and you want to be this health advocate, the problem is a lot of times you'll have people that are like, you should go vegan, it'll make you healthy. And they're not living healthy themselves. So like the message is lost because they're not living what they're trying to preach to people. So if that's the case, if you're looking at the health aspect of it and you want to do something, you just adjust your caloric intake with what you're doing as far as activity. It's the same across the board whether you're vegan or not. But people think when you go vegan, everything has to change. It's like, no, your protein, your carbs, your fat. It's the same thing. I don't have to work out harder. I'm 45 now, and I work out the same as I did when I was 25. Thank y'all. I really appreciate y'all. Much
y'all
love.
make sure y'all follow him on IG, Facebook, website, all the good things. Push the promo of the video.